Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by DeechWorks Fuel Systems. Visit DeechWorks.com for all your fuel system needs. This is part 2 with Brian talking about the Q&A questions and car development. So let's get into it. Is the 9th gen competitive in every class? Probably not. But I believe...
let me just start off by saying it's not at all.
I don't...
It's not at all.
I've put in 2 solid years to get this car, to get my 8th gen where it is. Brian Mang has put 3 years and into his 9th gen, and me begging him to try something at Hyperfest, and he had power. He picked up power. He got it tuned, and they found power. But he seemed to be pretty darn fast. I mean, he tried to pull a hero move on the Sunday afternoon race, and it took all I had to pedal past him with the 9th gen or the 8th gen. So I believe it's a competitive platform depending on the class. I believe
it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time.
But I believe that's true for all newer chassis. If you're the first one or the 5th one, these golden era cars, they've been around for 30 years. They've been raced for 30 years. Everybody has the answer or an answer. Heck, everybody has a part, right? If you're in a paddock and you have to carry your own parts because nobody else drives the same car as you, yeah, you're going to have to put in extra work. And I believe that's true with the 9th gen. Now, I do believe the limitation issues are in the head of that car. Everything else is basically similar enough to a 8th gen that if you can figure out the balance of power for that car versus the rest of the class, then I think it's a competitive car. It's just as competitive as an 8th gen. Now, have I won? No. Will I win? Maybe. There were some people who are after break, but I believe the car is still competitive. Is it harder on tires than a golden era? Yes. I was going through front tires every event. And now I cut a tire at Hyperfest. So that would have been 4 events. So I did fall finale. I did March, April, and Hyperfest. 4 events. I would have finished on the front tires. From 1 set of front tires every weekend to 4, I'll take that all day. All day. So you have to put the work in, though. You have to figure it out. And you have to figure it out for you. Maybe I can get you close if we drive similarly, and maybe not. Apparently I don't drive the same as Sam and Ash do because their setups are way different. So, but Mang apparently drives like me because he's like, this thing is a pushy pain in the butt. And I'm like, okay, let's try this. This is what Nick said to do. For what you have, he said, try this. What is your setting there? He goes, oh, it's at like toe out. And I said, okay, let's try toe in. Let's go swing.
Yeah, because before we talked, I had never heard of anybody doing toe in. I've only ever heard of people doing toe out. And so that's what I've been running, and it seems to make a difference in my mind. Maybe I'm doing something wrong to think that way, but...
So here's my nugget for 8th and 9th gen people. And I'm not done evaluating the car, and I haven't done everything I want to do to measure out the suspension, but I believe your ride height, your car handling, and the changes you make to the alignment is ride height dependent. And that includes spring rate. So if you change it, if you stiffen or strengthen or soften, if you stiffen or soften your spring rate, you have to understand that where you are, if you go softer, it's going to travel more. So you're going to force more travel, and whatever that means. Is there a toe arc? Is there no toe arc in your car? Is there a camber arc in your car? Like, every car is different. On McPherson struts, there's no camber arc. It's the same, it's static, generally.
Right.
But is there a toe curve because of where the pickup points are and what your bushings are made out of? Maybe. Does it change if you lift the car an inch? Probably. In our cars, I believe it does. I haven't measured it yet, but I believe it does. And I live the low life, like low life. People are always like, how do you get your tires out? And I was like, you have to lift the car up first. Another challenge of our vehicles, and a challenge for every vehicle, is droop, right? My shocks were set up by guys who listen to the shock manufacturer, which is generally what you do, but the instructions from the shock manufacturer, the dampener manufacturer, is to set your static droop this certain way. And that certain way limits that physical droop of the car. That's why when I had pictures from March, I had my rear tire like a foot in the air in a really fast corner. I would like to have that back on the ground, even if it's 1 inch of rubber touching on that side.
Sure.
Give me that 2% of contact patch, not up here, So
I mean, especially in a fast corner, you don't necessarily want that in the air.
Oh, well,
not ideal.
But again, it's very personal on how you want to set things up. Jonathan Baker, Honda Challenge H2 national champion 2 times over now, back to back. Okay. I qualified in 3rd. I'm really close to watching him do his warm-ups. We're scrubbing tires in. Every time he jerks the wheel to scrub the tire, he lifts a tire in the back. Can you imagine lifting a tire at 35 miles an hour? What is he going to be doing when he's loaded, right?
Right.
So, his car must be very loose. But maybe not. Maybe he's got it worked out where by moving it that quickly, he didn't have time to let the dampener release, but in a optimal race situation, it actually doesn't get off the ground. I don't know. He's too darn fast. I couldn't find him. So, so it becomes, you have to evaluate your car front to back. You have to evaluate every aspect of your car, especially if people aren't sharing, especially if the car is newer. Especially if you have a problem, if you're like, man, I need front grip. Okay. Go over the front of the car. Everybody says find front grip first, then in our cars, front wheel drive cars, and then dial out your rear grip. Well, sometimes your front grip is overpowered because your rear grip is so high. So you can evaluate the front all you want, but then you have to go to the back and go, this is as much as I can optimize the front right now. I need to go take out some rear, and then go evaluate the rear and see how you're going to do that. However your suspension is set up, McPherson struts, double wishbone, sway bars, no sway bars. I know people in 8th gens that have no sway bars, front or rear.
Okay. Yeah, I know for autocross people, they either take off their front sway bars or just undo them from the end links. And I think I only know of one other person that has no front sway bar for his track car. I was like, bro, I don't know how you do that. That in my mind scares the shit out of me. But
Who Who else has that?
Jesus Christ. He is a West Coast guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have his name off the top of my head. But I can find it, though.
But in a McPherson Strut car?
Yeah, it's a 9th gen. And I'm like, does not compute, you know?
I like that guy already. I don't run one. You'll see, and you're a photographer, okay? So I did the whole thing on what still photography does or how it can help you, okay? I can tell you that I watched 2 things occur in March. That my car was almost on 2 wheels through turn 3 at VIR, which is NASCAR, and a different shot from the same photographer, because my rear tire was so high in the air. You can look under the car. The sun was right at the right spot. I don't think I'd see it anywhere else, but there was a ripple in the back of my splitter, meaning that it wasn't going to work. It is doing nothing because it wasn't stiff enough. So I made a splitter. I rebuilt an entire new splitter. It's like 3 times as thick. It's gutted out and stuff, pretty, and I believe it works excellently now. And then I made a spring change to try to help keep the rear on the ground. And magically, it also helped me with my front grip problems, both of them. But those, I saw those through photography. When I was going through turn 3, as hard as I could go through, the car felt great. Okay. It felt wonderful. But I had no idea the car was jacked that way. You know, I had no idea my splitter wasn't being effective in a turn we're doing 90 miles an hour. And so it should be doing something, right? So I needed those pictures and I needed to make changes. I validated them. I didn't make the splitter change until after Summit Point, but I validated the spring change at Summit Point. And then I made the splitter change and we went to VIR and the car was blazing fast. I mean, yes, I made improvements, but the car felt so good. So when you're making changes and you gain confidence, run it as hard as you can. Try to find the weakness, whether it's in you or in the setup, whatever you can do. I mean, when you're evaluating your car, when you go out there and you're like, yeah, it feels great today. Okay, well, what happened? What'd you do? And now wear it out. Go have fun. Just make sure you write stuff down because it's important. I can't emphasize that enough. If you're not writing it down or you don't have some people just don't remember stuff. I don't remember my grid position. I literally look at my phone and go, okay, my grid position is 4. And then I give my phone to my wife because I'm not putting my phone in my race car. Then I get in and I drive. I always paddock like 200 or 300 feet from the gate of grid, right? In that 200 or 300 feet, I've started focusing on driving and what I need to do. And I get there and I go, I'm like number 4 or 5. Can you check for me? It's embarrassing because I can remember all sorts of stuff. I've been writing down my air pressures for like 6 months. I don't have to anymore. I know what I need them to be. I haven't missed yet. Not even by half a pound. I've nailed them every time. I'm like, what's the temperature outside? Okay, this is what I'm setting it to. And I've nailed it every time. I can do that, right? I can understand the changes that I've made and how it's affecting things. I can do ambient temperature, cold air pressure to what hot I want, right? When I come off, but I can't remember my grid number. If you're the opposite, if you know your grid number, but you're not good with the other stuff, you definitely have to write that stuff down. I still write it down, but I was seriously detailed, like a spreadsheet with all sorts of stuff on it.
So like I said, I'll do that. I'm not probably as anal as you are, for data's sake, but like I'm a very visual learner, and I see things in front of me without having to have them in front of me. So if it requires me to change my line a certain way or change my driving habit a certain way, I'll remember what I did those past sessions, and then I can make adjustments off of that. I'll still have the data that I took down, but I have a pretty good memory as to what I did before. So, I mean, it works for me.
Yeah. I mean, I talked with Ross Bentley a couple times, took a couple classes from him. And one of my biggest takeaways is I hate to call them funks because they're actually decent. Like, I was super consistent this weekend. I got faster and stayed as consistently fast, right? But it takes major changes in my driving sometimes when I'm not changing things to the car to try to find a tenth, 2/10. And then I have to see that, and then I have to go repeat it over and over and over again. And so, being in your data and making big swings as a driver and in your suspension setups and figuring out what works is so important when you're doing this.
Yeah. I know for me, like, and I've run into this maybe once or twice where, like, I'd go out, do kind of a iffy lap, and then it just gets better every session afterwards. It's because I can remember the line that I took and take something different and know how it affected me for that session. And then months could go by and I could go back and do the same thing and still improve without looking at the data that I took that time. I just have a good memory at remembering where I was and what lines I took and how I drove. It's kind of nice.
That's rare. So for everybody else, look at your data. So any more questions? I'm sure you have a dozen more.
Yeah. I probably should have included this, but
okay.
Is there a reason you went with a coupe over a sedan? Is it just kind of one of those things that you're a sedan guy or a coupe guy, or it was just available at the time and you didn't really get your pick? Or
yeah. So at first I didn't care. And so either one would have worked for me. And then talking to Sam, he said he's had a hard time getting his sedan down to weight. It is down to weight now, so it didn't take him. He's got a carbon hood, carbon trunk, Lexan, cage builder is the same as mine. He for whatever reason, I don't think he had gutted his rear doors yet. So that's a big deal. You got to gut your doors on these cars when you're trying to make race weight. I know it's different for you guys in TT and especially like street-based classes. So, but when you're looking for weight like that, we ice the whole cars. We bust out all the sound deadening. We remove anything we don't need anymore. And then,
sure,
but he wasn't in the back of the door. He didn't have door bars to fit. And we're like, you got to cut all this out, man. So he was able to get to weight, but at the time he was struggling. And I hadn't seen his car in so much detail. And then the car that I got as a coupe, it was such a good deal that, considering it came with the OS Geiken diff and the Redshift coilovers, and it was basically cheaper than anything I could find around here. Clean Carfax, lower miles than anything I could find locally. I mean, that's why I ended up. It wasn't my optimal color. I wanted either a red sedan like Sam has or a white coupe. So,
right.
Well, red or white,
that's
either
like
way.
It's like me. I've had so many black cars in the past, and I always tell myself, I'm not going to get another black car, another black Honda. The Honda paint is trash. It's just, It's going to fade. It's going to do all this stuff. And then I went and bought one. I think I looked at a white 2015 sedan in Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
It was within my budget. I was like, man, I got to get this. And then I was still waiting on that accident check from the insurance company. And I was like, man, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to buy this car. And it sold before I got my check, like a day before I got my check. And I was like, damn it. I guess I'm buying a black sedan.
Yeah, I don't think it matters in the grand scheme of things. Even my car is not all the way down to the weight that I want. I'd prefer to re-add ballast. Like I'd prefer to relocate some things and then add a passenger seat. Like that's how light I want it to be. Just because I get a lot of requests at HPDE and testing days, like, hey, can you take me for a ride? And I'm like, unless you want to get ratchet strapped to my cool suit system, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, because I took out, I don't know, maybe 230 pounds of weight out of my car. And that's all the stock seats, trunk gutted, some of the plastics on like the B pillar so I could fit the roll cage in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I added probably, I don't know, the cage is 70 pounds maybe. Front seat with the brackets and the rails is probably another 25 pounds. So I took out as much weight as I can do for a street car, DE car, whatever it is. I still have sound deadening. I still have airbags. Still have the radio because, you know, sometimes I go on track and I listen to music. Or I'll be sitting in the pits waiting to go out and I'm just bumping, right? I think in the future, yeah, all that stuff, I would love to have all that stuff come out. But, you know, with a full tank of gas, with me in the car, the cage, the seat, I have a carbon hood. I have the wing, which added a little bit of weight over the old carbon wing that I had. The car sits at 2,920 with me in it.
Okay.
Without me, it's roughly 2,700 pounds, which for a sedan and not taking out that much weight, I think that's pretty decent. I mean, it handles really well with that weight gone, but it still handled pretty decently with the weight there, you know?
So for the Sunday races, because Saturday races got jacked up, and I always pre-fill for a practice qualifying race, and it turned out to be qualifying race, fun race, and I didn't do the fun race, so I was pretty significantly overweight on Saturday. But Sunday I came off like 15, 20 pounds over, so it put me right around 2750. But my cage is overly built. But
yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, you have to take these things into consideration. Sometimes it's more work than you want it to be. But if you're trying to make a minimum race weight when you're picking a car, you better be prepared, because I think you should remove your entire interior, bust out all the sound deadening, and then put your interior back.
Yeah.
Every little bit helps. There's also two big metal beams in our car. Have you seen those by the rear seats?
No.
Yeah, under your rear seats, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
Yeah. They're like 20 pounds a piece.
Yeah, I know minimum weight for Club TR for any car, except for like the weird things like Porsche Boxsters or non-HR 350Zs or whatever random cars they allow in that class, is 2,550. So, I mean,
you can get you're allowed to get your car that low.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So that would be huge.
Oh, for sure. Let me see. I'm pretty sure we were all right there. Yeah, we were all right there at that weight. Because there's another 8th gen sedan exactly like mine. Pete, he just built his pretty new. He's learning.
Is it the same color sedan that was there?
Yeah, same color as mine. He dropped significant time this weekend. I was proud of him. He made it down to like 215, he said. So it's pretty decent.
That's good.
Yeah.
I aspired to get to that time.
I mean, how many times have you driven VIR? You know?
4.
4? Yeah. We have significantly more events there. So most of them.
Well, the good thing about every time I've been there is I've improved my time by like a substantial amount. So I mean that makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah. So the trick is going to be you're going to get to a point in your car and driver development where that no longer occurs, and you'll actually run slower. And I've said it before, but you're going to get to a point where you're fast enough that the weather will impact you. You won't overcome the weather. Okay. So at that point, you have to start comparing yourself to those in front of you and behind you. Are you faster, much faster than the guys behind you? Have you put a new person behind you that you never have before? That's how you need to evaluate yourself. So it gets a little tricky the faster you go. But, you know.
Let's see. I'm going over these questions real quick. We kind of factor that in. Is there anyone in particular for like this generation or these generations of Civics that you look up to better yourself as a driver and developer? Or is there just someone in general that you really aspire or look up to?
I think in the 8th gen chassis world, Nick Kors, shout out to him. He's always keeping it real. He's always been really brutally honest about things. Even saying, you know, I took horsepower out and got faster, you know. Mm-hmm. He's seeking coaching. He's doing all the right things. And he's bringing home trophies for it. So good for him. I aspire to bring home trophies by doing the right thing, you know.
I think he coaches himself, correct?
No. Who is it?
He was offering coaching for Grid Life last year. He came down to CMP, but he wasn't racing himself, but he was offering coaching.
But he's been getting...
and I can't remember what company he was with.
Yeah, he may be working with that company doing driver coaching because they were helping him doing car setup stuff. They coached him and then they were working on dialing the car in for him. I can't remember. The track walking, one of the track walking guys, I believe, works with him, I think.
I'm going to go back there and find it real quick.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's a good dude. He told me some pitfalls that could happen in these chassis that I need to be aware of. Sure enough, it occurs. Takes mitigation steps as needed. The transmissions get super hot. So I change my oil, transmission fluid every event, and it seems to be helping. I also run super thick stuff. The Motul something 140. So like 75 140 or 90 140. Whatever that is. The heavy Motul racing stuff. Gear oil. I run that in the transmission. Seems to be doing fine. But it does get hot. I can confirm that. Mine gets very hot. So, and designing a cooler system is in the packaging of an 8th and a 9th gen is challenging. So I haven't gone that far to try yet. So, but he's a good dude. All the guys in my paddock have been super helpful. Okay. You know, Jonathan Baker's been on the podcast. He doesn't want to tell the world secrets, but talking to him, he will share things sometimes.
Does he have the orange sedan?
No, he's in
what does he have?
He's in the number 32 Integra Type R, white, red, gray, all
I got
together. Christopher Michaels also been on the podcast. I mean, I can't thank the guys enough. The track family that I have is amazing. He and I bounce ideas off of each other. We all legitimately believe that if you can get the person faster behind you, like I help Brian Mang, I want him to be faster because it motivates me. I have to be faster now, right? If I know he's going to get faster, I got to get faster. but I'm not afraid to help him because I need that extra oomph, right? So Chris and I bounce ideas off each other. We talk from time to time. Mark has been super encouraging, even though he hasn't been racing. He's been there at every event. He's always hyping me up. He's always talking to me about what we're doing well. Like those group of guys are amazing. Michael Young, he's gotten lights out. I don't know where he's picked up. It's in discipline. It's like, this is how I'm dealing with the car. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm attacking the track. Like, it's not just a random occurrence, right? He's gotten lights out fast. He's getting so fast. I started reeling him in. I started catching him, and then he's just like, he's going to the moon, right? And maybe that's the motivation. I put a little fear in him, right? And now he's working harder. All those guys work hard. Our region in particular, we do a lot of testing. I'll try to go to a summit point, on the sly on a Tuesday, some random Porsche thing, and do some testing, and probably one of the other guys will be there, and we're either going to park near each other or we're not parking near each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we do so much car development and looking for seconds, tenths here, tenths there, tenths in ourselves, in our driving, tenths in the car, to try to add these things up that every time we go out, we're just flying.
I mean, there's a reason as to why Mid-Atlantic is the beast of the East, essentially.
I mean, there are fast people in the Northeast. I don't know. I haven't run with any of the guys really from the Southeast. I don't want to knock anybody's region, but when we have good numbers and when they're consistently coming, we get more and more competitive. We work harder, and I think that's in every region. When you have good turnouts, people are like, man, don't want to be 7th out of 12th. I'd rather be 5th, I'd rather be 3rd, whatever it is, wherever you are, start aiming way up there, and then put the work in for it. New cars, old cars, that's part of the mantra of this podcast is, improve yourself, work on yourself, work on the car, get faster. Right. And that's the work that my paddock puts in every time they touch the track. It's work they put in research. It's work that they put in developing stuff for their cars. Not everybody has off the shelf parts. I don't have a splitter kit. There's no splitter kit for an 8th gen that I would run on my car. Right.
And I'm in the same boat. It's just go to Home Depot and get some metal from the bins, the random bins, and just make something and pray to God it works.
Well, I mean, so the not sponsored, trust me, RaceBred FK8 stuff works on these cars. There is the custom rear mount that you have to make, but you need to do that anyway because you need to throw some pitch. Listen to the last Aero podcast I did with Mario. You need to throw some pitch in on your splitter. The factory FK8 one will actually go the wrong direction, so you need to tighten up the rear. The only way to do that is make a new drop bracket, smaller drop bracket, and but the rest of it's on you. Developing the splitter size, thickness, how your air dam is going to mount, how your air dam seals.
The RaceBred FK8 mount, is that the one that essentially bolts to the crash bar and goes around the intercooler? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it goes around underneath the radiator to the front subframe mount. So these are tricks. Right. People. Okay. Here's a hot tip. It works on Ryan Bradfield's TSX also. He said, I don't have a kit. And I said, well, this is what I did. I sent him pictures with measurements, and he went out and measured and was like, I think it'll work, and ordered a set. And that's what he uses. So it's been a very flexible kit.
I have a big sheet of birch just sitting in my garage, just waiting for me to design something, and I just don't do it. I'm intimidated, to be honest, because I'm like, I can make something, but I can make something that's not going to necessarily work too well, and it could go south really quick. And there's nothing to like base it off of. You know, I don't know. It's different.
Sure. You have plenty to base it off of. There's, tips and tricks during the Aero podcast that you just need to be cognizant of. And I would start, how thick is the birch at your house?
3/8, I think.
Okay, good. That's a good size. Okay. That's what I use at first. And it buckled. So you're going to need 2 layers, and you're going to want to bond them, right? You also want to design a system that has a failure point. In my opinion, the race bred system, when you design your new rear drop brackets, if that's the way you want to go for $500. Okay. So I know it's expensive. That rear system, make it out of aluminum and as thin as you can, with knowing that there's front down forces in excess of 100, 150 pounds. If it gets correct, right? So you want it to be able to hold that, but also hopefully you're not street driving it. The other challenge for us is street driving these cars. That FK8 bracket will be very low, and I don't recommend taking it on and off all the time because you have to re-square it every time you do that. So,
okay.
When you take off brackets, because it's quick release, but they'll stick out of the bottom of your bumper.
Yeah. I try not to drive the car every day. It might be like 1 or 2 days a week type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting to the point where it's just not a great street car anymore.
They all get that way. It's time to ruin it.
It's very mild.
Yeah, I understand, but you go ahead and send the bank the rest of your money, and you go finish ruining this car. Yes. Nod your head, yes.
You can't see me, but I'm like, this guy's onto something.
So, I if it's no longer a street car, it's just time to take the next step. If it's no longer comfortable as a street car, fun as a street car is different. But this is a personal philosophy of mine. If I'm not willing to jump in the car and like make a run for me, I think I'm like, how long did it take? 6-7 hours to Charleston, South Carolina from my house. No, it has to be longer, like 8. I don't know. We were cooking with bacon anyway, but if I don't want to just jump in the car and roll down, for the day or the night or whatever, I'm not driving that car on the street anymore. It's too ruined for the street and not ruined enough to have real fun. And that's the problem. You got to fix that.
Yeah, it's good for me because there's only one seat in the freaking thing. So it's, SOL for everybody else that wants to get a ride in it and have to ride on the floor with a bungee cord strapped around them, or, in the back seat if they could maneuver back there and just hold on to the cage, just, whatever.
It's hard to pick up the ladies that way. I think you need to ruin it and just make it
So
take it away from the Instagram queen status and make her track rat status.
So I wouldn't say this is I would not advise this, but I'd gotten a pair of fake Brid seats from a buddy. And the whole intent was to run them as, street, like a street setup, because being an idiot, I sold all of my stock seats thinking, this is going to be a great idea. It's not. It's a horrible idea. Don't do any of that shit. So I couldn't find brackets. I couldn't find rails to run on these seats.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to sell them or give them to someone to run in like a sim type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time being, I was like, I got to pick this girl up that I'm bringing either to VIR or I'm taking her somewhere else. I'm like, I'm just going to throw the seat on the floor with no rails and pray to God that this thing doesn't move. It worked. I would not advise it. She rode all the way up to VIR in March with me in that seat. I would not advise it. So
And you didn't
I don't have the seats anymore, but long story. Don't have enough time in the day for that.
I'm just teasing you, man. When they can put up with your car stuff, though, it goes a long way. So at least,
well, I try to give my nephew really loves the car. He's 5 years old. He is not allowed in the car without a seat, unless my sister is not there. So I mean,
hopefully she doesn't listen to the podcast. I doubt it.
Yeah. Just bungee cord them to the floor. It'd be good. They're malleable. They bounce, right?
Children do. They bounce back pretty decent too. Usually.
I can't have kids.
I don't want them, so I'm safe there.
Yeah.
But all right, I think we've done a marathon, but if there's more, we just split this into two. So do you have more questions?
I really have one more question, and okay. I don't know if it's something that we kind of factored into all of the other ones, but how would you rate the reliability of this chassis? And I'm sure we've done this before, but what are the must-need modifications that really make these cars shine?
Oh, man. Okay. So I believe they're stupid reliable. Knock on wood that my engine has 168,000 miles on it. I put an oil pump, new timing chain, tensioner, all that jazz. Basics. It's bolt on. I rev it to 9K all the time. All the time. In anger. Well, actually, for fun. I'm never angry. It's all fun. It's all for fun. There's no anger out there, but not for me. But yes, but aggressively, I have a really short gear stack. I have a really aggressive final drive. So the two things I believe wake this car up, and this is 8th gen. I don't know about you 9th gen guys. Because Meng's still on his stock brakes, and he did pretty well with his superhero move. So, maybe all the hubbub about the front brakes are terrible, or they just weren't getting enough air for what they were, and they probably don't last that long because it's a single piston setup and it's a little small. But get all your bolt-ons in a tune, because if you're not power depleted, or you're not supposed to meet a minimum requirement or a maximum requirement, and you can run 230 horsepower that revs to $9,000, do that. Okay. And shoot, what was my other one? Oh, gear stack. Yep. Just ruin your miles per gallon. There is nothing like shifting every 1700 RPM when you're wailing on this car. When she's screaming at $9,000 and she only drops down to like 8,300, or sorry, 7,300 in a shift, and then you slam it back down to the floor, and it's just like it just revs and revs and revs and revs. It's amazing. When excuse me, for those of you that don't get it or don't know, VIR turn 4. This is my best example. Turn 4. You're familiar. I'm in 3rd gear. Okay. So I slow down. It's one of the slowest corners, if not the slowest corner on the track. It's like 45-ish. Okay. It's tied with Dare and Oak Tree. They're usually the slowest. And then off the top, 14, 15. right off the top of the roller coaster, right when you come off the back straight, it's a little faster, but only by a couple miles an hour. Anyway,
right.
Turn 4, I'm in 3rd gear. Before the bridge, I'm in 6th gear. As a matter of fact, I'm not even out of the flat S's before I'm in 5th gear. So I'm in 3rd gear, and in between 5A and 5B, I have to shift to 4th. I go through 5B. I hit the true flat S, and in the middle of the true flat S, I have to go to 5th. And I run 5th to, I don't know, 50 yards before the bridge, and I'm in 6th. And then I'm raging in 6th up the S's. So it's so much fun. I know it's a lot of shifting. Everybody's like, too much shifting, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I just love
I don't think I ever see 6th gear ever.
Most people won't.
At any track. At any track, really.
Most people won't.
I think Road Atlanta, I've come close. The back stretch, I'm at the top of, I don't know, I'd have to look back, but I think the back stretch of VIR, I'm like middle of 5th going into the braking zone, the last one marker or 0 marker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm at middle of 5th probably.
At VIR?
I think so.
Okay. That's fair. I'm almost out of 6th gear. Like if I get a draft, which is hard because she's thick. If I get a draft, I'll run out. But that's how close I am. Around the 1 marker, I'll run out. So, of 6th gear. But these cars, a lot of people put like the Proline kit on them and like some Coney orange or whatever, and a rear sway bar, and people think they feel great, you know. I'm not sure I would say that, but a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people think that way. So, and then, but the real big thing is the gear stack, you know, in my opinion, and unleashing all the horsepower. Just let her eat, because from the factory, they're kind of boring. They're 200 horsepower, but they're kind of boring.
They're garbage. They're garbage. If I'm being completely honest, I noticed it.
I mean,
really,
you're 9th gen for sure.
I really noticed it at CMP coming out of the carousel, like the first carousel turns 4 through 7 or 5 through 7. That is the worst section ever. It's just wheel spin city all day. There's no grip whatsoever.
Do the 9th gens have LSD?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the factory LSDs are terrible on the.
Yeah.
I mean, not terrible, but they're not as optimized. But
it could be way better.
But it could be worse. It could be open. So.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think they need, for these cars, I don't think they need an LSD right away. They have one. I just really think the gearing is very boring. It's no secret. I run a DC5R 456. The 8th gen.
Yeah, I think that's very similar to what some other guys are running for ours.
Oh, I'm sure. It's
the closest factory. I think they even run like. I think they even run like EP3 stuff.
Yeah, some of them will run like an EP3 1-2. 3rd gear is basically universal, so they run an EP3 main shaft and counter shaft, and then they do a 6 gear stack on it. Yeah, that's a whole nother ball game. I'm actually researching some stuff about the transmission. I think there's a more optimal gearing for my car. I don't know if it'll fit in my rules. That's the only question. So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, the gears, the 8th gen Civic was considered basically the 8th gen Civic SI. 2 hours later, and I'd clarify that the R18 can go away. And don't drive one.
Yeah, I've got a reel coming out for that really soon. Just wait.
Okay, awesome. Okay, we're gonna get to that too. So it's it was considered as close as we were ever going to get to the CTR, and they're not wrong, or a Type R, and they're not wrong when you look at part numbers. The cam profile is almost as aggressive. The valve springs are the same. The pistons, all that jazz, like the rods. Okay, the crank sort of almost the same. It's like a Type R Lite. It's the closest we were going to get in the United States, and they knew we didn't like harsh stuff, so they put a balance shaft oil pump on it instead of the RRC that comes on the Type R. But then they gave us the most boring gear stack ever. Like the factory gear stack. Pete runs one. He got into the 15s with not using 6th gear. He ran 5th gear. That's all he runs. He's got a factory transmission. So he's got an easy 2nd and a half probably. If he changes his gear stack, final drive, and diff. Just at VIR, So, but you don't have to do the LSD if you're just having fun. But gear stack, just ruin the miles per gallon. Nobody cares about miles per gallon. If you can spin it to $9,000, you don't care about miles per gallon, even in your daily driver or fun track toy, right? You'll suffer through all of that on the way to the track.
Yeah. Yep. I think for mine is like, I think the rear sway bar, the bigger rear sway bar really livened up my car. And I think that's because my first 2 track days were just on some lowering springs, some 320 tread wear tires, and stock power. And I have a feeling, and it really felt like to me, that it made a huge difference on track.
So for these cars, that's the HPD setup, man. Some 320 tread wear tires you don't care about. They'll take a little heat. They might blister. They're still going to get you home. Yeah, they're not 200 tread wear. Yes, you're going to get 3 times the life out of that 320 as you get it out of a conventional 200 tread wear. The lowering springs and some regular old dampers, I hear that the spring rates and everything just seem to feel pretty decent, especially when you put a big bar on it, and they love rotating, apparently. So
yeah, my car's been very rotatey as of lately. But the first,
what did
first? Maybe I'm just driving differently. I don't know. For the first 2 years that I was doing DE stuff, I've never sent the car off track.
Mm-hmm.
My first send off was at VIR in the roller coaster on the outlap at 60 miles an hour. Cold tires, sure. 100%.
Oh, I remember that video. That was amazing.
So
you went to the wrong side of the car killer wall.
Yeah, I went to the hill.
Yeah. Like you went up and up the hill, right?
Yeah, because I've never paddocked from South Paddock before.
Okay. Me either.
So I've never come out of that. I've never come out of there before. So the first time, it was a morning session, which is weird for SCCA track night events, especially for VIR.
Mm-hmm.
And I came out of there, I was like, okay, I got this outlap. And I slowed down to 60 going into a roller coaster, and it just looped me around. Luckily, it looped me around in like the best case scenario, because I think they added that new tire wall barrier at the end of the braking zone. And then they added something else on the other side of where I spun out at. But I looped it around, and luckily I didn't damage anything. Bumper was still on. I didn't break a wheel, I just kind of tap that hill that's right there because the wall sits on top of that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looped it there. I was like, okay, well, nothing's broken. And then I've never gone off anywhere else at VIR. And then I went back to CMP late last year and went off twice in the same corner. But I've narrowed that down to I didn't have rear aero on the car. Like I'd taken it off and I'd sold that APR wing that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going into the turns the same way I would have with aero. And I didn't adjust suspension. I didn't adjust the bar in the rear. I just left everything as is. And it just spun me. And I don't have any experience spinning off track or getting back into the throttle, stabbing the throttle. I have no experience of that. So I just, instinct tells you to, go for the ride, and hope to pray you don't hit anything. But, since then I've been going off, and I hate to say it, but I've been going off a lot more, but it really teaches you how to do car control and stab the throttle where you need to and try to keep it straight. So, I mean, it's a learning curve.
It also means you're trying harder. So
yeah,
there's that too. I mean, I was really good at not going off track, but I was also slow. So
yeah,
I believe if you're trying, you're going to find the edges of the limits of adhesion. So if you're trying to go fast, and then when you find the wrong side of that limit, you go off sometimes. So
yeah,
but all right, my man. Any more questions? We've been going strong. This is like a Joe Rogan joint right here.
Yeah. No, man. I think I don't know. How does one get into Honda Challenge? I know this is probably a stacked thing, but if someone wanted to leave from DE, like how many DE events is enough for wheel to wheel? I know through NASA it's a ladder system, but is it easier to go through NASA or is it easier to have the track experience through other organizations to get into that sort of racing series? Like, I don't know.
So that's all personal. Seat time counts, and you got to worry about how far are your lap times away from the group you want to race with. Honda Challenge or not, right? If you got a 325i E36 and you want to go race Spec 3, but you're still driving around VIR doing a 225, I'm not going to recommend.
You're probably not ready.
You're not ready for Spec 3. Okay. And the same thing would be for Honda Challenge. So assuming your car is mostly touched, so maybe you don't have all sphericals, but you're not riding on 40-year-old golden era bushings, 30-year-old bushings, things like that, right? So if you've touched all the areas you're allowed to touch, you're at your horsepower cap, you're kind of close to your minimum weight, 50, 80 pounds away from your minimum weight, no big deal. And you're within, say, 7 seconds, 8 seconds of the pole sitter. Yeah, you can go. You can go do comp school. I mean, assuming you've completed enough to qualify for whatever organization that you want to race in, right? You want to go to GLTC? If you're like 8 seconds off Coutil and all them, Tomo, like if you're within 8 seconds of them and you're okay with being in the B group when they do the split and whatever, and knowing that there's people to race with, but you're going to progress,
sure,
then you're okay. But if you're essentially you need to evaluate if you're too far away to touch the back of the current pack. You don't want to be on an island. Okay. That's it's hard being on an island and getting faster. It takes even more car discipline and more driver data discipline to race that way, okay, and to improve that way. So it's very hard. But the times that you're putting on, you'll gain like a second when you're in comp school, just from the folks around you and the energy you have. And then when you, at least in NASA and what I've seen with the Honda Challenge guys and what the Honda Challenge guys before me, when they told me when I was a rookie, okay, I think my rookie, I was doing like a 220 before I went to comp school. During comp school, I did a 218. They said that was pretty normal. And then during my first race, I got into like the 17s. Okay. It's all in perspective because the leaders were doing, I think, 12s at the time. Now the leaders can do anywhere down to the 210s, 209s we've seen in qualifying. But I had people to race with, so it didn't matter. Was I a back marker? Absolutely. Rarely is somebody coming out of comp school and going to go run up front. I mean, with all the rookies every year, every other year, maybe one of them will start running towards the front of their pack in whatever designated.
We all can't beat Boston, you know?
Right. No. I know plenty. Christopher Michaels, Boston. You know, there's plenty of guys who come out and they just run, and they run fast. Okay. That's great. But Boston went to comp school with probably 20 other people. Yeah. So, 1 in 20 chance of doing this. And I guarantee there isn't one every year. So it's more than 1 in 20. So just be realistic with yourself, but try to get ready to get up to a speed where you can race somebody. That's the most important thing. The most important thing, in my opinion, is being able to race with somebody. My rookie year, Hunter in the Accord wagon, he and I, slow as hell, had the most fun I've ever had. I can't ask for a better person to race with than Hunter. He and I are significantly faster now. Okay. But when we race each other, I still get those rookie feelings. I had such a great time. He beat me, I don't know, last year I think last year at Hyperfest. Okay. During the Saturday, like, highlight race, he and I fought neck and neck the entire race. Going into turn 4, I lock him up. He comes on the inside. I'm running up the S's with a wobbly, flat spotted tire, ABS lights on. I'll never catch him again. I couldn't have been happier for him, you know, because he worked hard for it. He and I've raced that hard for so long, you know, that we're happy for each other when we're able to excel. When we're able to beat each other. Heck, there were times where I was still developing this 8th gen and he's running a 212 at VIR, overcoming a lot of stuff, and still comes in with a 212. I hadn't hit a 212 yet. I was like, oh man, he's going to whoop me from now on. That's not necessarily the case, but I love racing that guy, right? You're going to find those people, but you want to find those people. He and I are really good friends. Like, this last weekend, he was in the paddock working on his car the entire time. Okay. I was more disappointed that he wasn't out there than I was happy in how I was finishing. I had fine finishes, respectable finishes.
Did he ever go out?
No.
I was about to say, all the races that I saw Saturday, I didn't see him once out there. So I wasn't sure if something wrong happened or he was just working on it or.
Yeah, he was working on it the whole time. It's somewhere in the harness, he thinks. He does electrical stuff, so he's probably right. You know, he's getting a new harness, he's putting it together. But to have him there, unable to race with us, and it was, in my opinion, it was a very competitive Honda Challenge field that was there. You know, it would have been good to see where he was going to show up, likely in front of me because he's getting that fast, so it's hard. It's hard to sit there and watch him struggle. You go try to help when you have time, offer him pointers at nighttime, bring him beers or whatever he needs, like remind him he needs to eat, those types of things. But to watch somebody I love racing with struggle is hard. So you want to find that family. So you may own a Honda today and there's nobody racing Honda Challenge. If you have the fortitude to stick it out and build that class because you have the passion for it, good for you. I think people need to do that more often for all sorts of types of classes. But at the same time, if there's a group of folks in the paddock that turn into your track family and they run all BMWs, maybe they're mixed class, maybe it doesn't matter, but if they're all running BMWs or they're running Porsches or God forbid they're running Miatas, like make the switch, right? I'm not against people making the switch. I won't make the switch, but I have my family. I have my track family. I have that environment that I thrive in for the good and the bad. It's like a family. Sometimes we have disputes. We yell at each other and stuff. Okay. That happens. But at the same time, we're still going to help each other and we're still there for each other and we encourage each other. And that's the kind of stuff you want to work towards. So rounding that back, that's why you need to be competitive enough to go out there. And don't be afraid to go, I want to race with you guys. Can you help me while I'm in HPDE to get to the point where I can come out and race? Don't be afraid, because I know in my region we'd help you, and I'm sure it's that way in other regions and in other classes all across the United States, other organizations, I'm sure people will help you. We all are addicted to the go fast crack pipe. Like we want to help people improve. It's just in us. I think there are very few overly egotistical folks who are being like, oh, go away. I don't want it. I can't help you, and sure, you're not going to more than half the time, you're not going to get the whole answer. You're going to get 90% of the answer because they're trying to engage your brain to get you to find the rest of the 10%, but they're going to get you pretty close, right? When they try to help you, and they're just trying to get you thinking in the right direction and getting you thinking like you need to be as a racer, because later on they may have a question for you and they're going to want to make sure that it's well thought out, So, don't get mad when you only get 90% of the answer, because that's all I give people normally.
I've been fortunate enough to run into people like yourself at any sort of event, and they've been super helpful. They're willing to share knowledge with you. They're willing to share specs, if you will. You don't get that everywhere else, so it's really nice. There's almost no gatekeeping, if you want to call it that, in this type of thing. It's been nice.
There is gatekeeping because there's proprietary information that people have worked very, very hard for. Okay. Is it worth a second? Is it worth a second to a rookie? Is it worth a second to somebody in DE? Absolutely not. They probably couldn't use it. Okay. Or even if you told it to them, they probably wouldn't be able to use it.
You wouldn't be able to use it. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So you're not going to get all of those things. Okay. And some of it's very subjective. Okay. So Baker let loose in the improving and qualifying thing that he thought lap 3 was the hot lap. Okay. Okay. All well and good. Hot lap is lap 3. I believe he let that fly because he knows we're changing the tire, and that number may change, right? We in Honda Challenge are going from the Toyo RR to the Toyo Proxy R next year. Okay.
Right.
He can let that fly now. He's got 1 year of people trying to aim for the 3rd lap. Heck, I didn't make 3 laps during qualifying. My rear bumper was flapping around. So
hey, it looked cool though.
It really looks cool when the drone is chasing you. I really want to see that coverage,
Exactly.
but
I think I saw it on. I think you posted it Friday. It was qualifying Friday or something like that. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, yo, that's a cool picture.
So Tony sent me that. But anyway, there are certain things he's worked a long time to try to figure out when the best lap is to pull. Okay. Sure, he let it fly this year. I'm sure he feels more comfortable letting it fly this year because we're switching to a new tire. But guess what? You know what that made me think? I need to figure out what the new Proxy R is going to be. Because I go out there and lay it hard like lap 2 on. And maybe I don't need to approach things that way. It got me thinking, right? He let that nugget drop, but it got me thinking. Sure, I can use lap 3 for the rest of the year, but what do I need to work on for the new tire? If you guys are on, you're doing Club TR, when's the Falcon come in, right? It may not be the same for your car that it is for everybody else's, right? Same for us. My McPherson and their double wishbone might not be lap 3. Mine might come in earlier because we run stiffer spring rates maybe. Or we have a more static alignment. And so we're going to get the inner part hot first, but we're still going to have a cold outer. So it may stretch me a lap, but my window may be smaller, right? He could get lap 2 and or lap 3 and maybe 4. Maybe I have to run maybe lap 4 and 5 or maybe just 4 because there's no way to keep him in for lap 5, So, but it just got me thinking, right? He dropped that knowledge. That's great. He would tell me that, I appreciate it. He would tell everybody that now because he told it to the podcast, but we're going to share, but he gate kept that for probably 6 or 8 years, probably. But was it going to do me any good? Last year before last, from my rookie year until maybe recently? No, it's not going to do me any good. Because I had to change the way I thought about qualifying in the first place. So there's still tons of information that you're not going to get, but what they're going to do is poke you to get you thinking the right way. And that's sort of what I try to do here on the podcast is I'm not giving you my spring rates, but I'm giving you things to think about.
Right.
I mean, not that my spring rates are a hidden subject, but I mean, my car's on jack stands enough that if people really want to know, they just roll under my car, right? Like at the track. So,
right.
It's not that hard to figure out, but at the same time, I actually don't think there's anything I'm necessarily gatekeeping on my car. But like I've said multiple times now, is my car, for whatever reason, is different. I believe it's because I run lower than everybody else's, that it's handling different, but it's handling the way I like for the duration I like. So maybe I'm onto something. Maybe I'm not. We'll see. Only time will tell. But I'm happy with where the direction I'm going. But I've used that methodical approach on how we develop the car and how I've addressed my own driving to separate those issues in the data to make changes and then keep improving the car. That's just how we've been doing it. So,
right. Do you have any questions for me aside from when am I joining Honda Challenge?
Well, I expect you to pay off that car shortly, and then
give me a year and a half. It'll be done.
Let's aim for a year, and you roll your income tax into that and get it eliminated fully, and then we'll be good, or you side hustle some more.
Yeah, that's what I do when I go to Hyperfest. I don't drive anymore. I just shoot.
Well, there's a lot of clientele, so it's good. Where can they see your photography first off, and where can they follow you? Let's start there because this is important.
Okay. So for the longest time, I kind of stopped posting on my photography page It's BTM Graphics, BTM_graphics, GRAPHIX. I've kind of started going back and trying to do some stuff, but the algorithm's so fucked up right now. I do post some stuff on my main account, which is CLT_FB6. You can find photos there or on the photo page. It really doesn't matter.
Right. So reward these people for their side hustle, because as I've said before, it does help you when you set up all the photographers. What they provide gives you insight that you may not understand or know. Also, if you're looking for partners to work with your program, they love good pictures. Okay, period. I've already sent the pictures that I got from you to Deechworks because they wanted to see it right away. It's the first time the graphics were on the car. You know, they wanted to see everything. So sent it. They loved it. Okay. Are they posting it? I don't think so. Not yet. Maybe they share my post. I don't know. Whatever. But they
want to see that you're making an attempt.
They want to see that
you're out there.
Correct. And that you're out there and that you're performing and that you're living to terms of your agreements, right? That's part of it. Okay. And it costs money on your part, but it also is they're investing in you and your program. So, and this podcast. Right. So, that's important, right? So you want to be able to share that stuff. But also I have family all over the country and not every race is a GLTC live stream race. So they ask me questions. How did the race go? And I'll give them a little summary and then I'll send them some of the cool pictures and they like that stuff. Right. Yeah. So it's important beyond the performance aspect of what it can help you see. So,
and for me, like, I try to make a few paragraphs after every race. I didn't mention this before, but I used to shoot and write, and I was a horrible writer. I used to write for a lot of automotive blogs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, you know, back when that was a thing, it's hardly a thing anymore. But, you know, I was trained to do that. So it's nice for them to be able to read. They're going to read it. The people that follow me probably 90% of the time don't read anything that I post on there. They just look at the photos. But, you know, your sponsors want to see what you did. They want your input from the products that you're running. Otherwise, they're just making stuff that appeals to people, but they don't know what it's really doing for them. So, you know, for instance, the company that I have coilovers from is Yellow Speed. At the time, they weren't really doing motorsport stuff. Mm-hmm. So I thought, you know, I'm in that realm. Maybe I can give you some like R&D stuff or some basic data as to what your coilovers are doing for me on the track, because no one else is running the suspension. Right. It's not because it's a bad company. It's just they're just not in that space, you know. Mm-hmm. And now they're in drifting. Now they're in rally. Now they're in some form of circuit or grassroots spec racing, whatever. But it just doesn't work for me anymore because I've outgrown that suspension. Essentially, I've done what I needed to do, and there's a lot of downfalls with the suspension that I have. It just doesn't work for me anymore.
Right. And it's not optimized for the spring rates you're probably going.
Right. So. And I've explained that to you. I've explained that to everybody who asks me, you know, what suspension are you running? And I'll tell you, it's like, it's a great street coilover. It's probably great for autocross. It's not great for lapping constantly at different tracks with different elevations and different compression zones and all this other stuff. It's not optimized for that. So, you know, I'm not going to shy away and sugarcoat everything, but I'm going to tell you exactly how it worked for me and, you know, the pros and cons of everything. So
I feel you. All right, man. So we got
nothing else from you?
Nothing else from me. I don't have anything either. I appreciate you coming on.
It's a long podcast.
It's a long podcast. I'll probably break it into two, but I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, dude. And I'll give some shout outs real quick.
Yeah, man.
Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Koenig Wheels, been with them for 3.5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Super awesome, super helpful. I'm with K-Tune now. I'm working with Houghton on certain setups for the car as far as like suspension goes.
Okay.
He's been super helpful. I mean, it shows in the way he races and it shows in everything that he does, whether it was time attack or wheel to wheel, it doesn't matter. This man's a fucking wheel man. So yeah, I'm going to listen to him and take his input.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with them. And then Jake over at Streamline Performance, he does all my modifications or any kind of work that I can't do physically. He does all my alignments and whatnot. And then the guys that push me, you push me, Junar up in Midwest, he pushes me to do better and stuff. So like Boston for, pushing me however he can, even though it's annoying sometimes. Yeah, man, a lot of these guys are super helpful. So
great. I mean, even track internet family is important too, because
yeah, big shout out to the 8th and 9th gen Facebook road race group.
Yeah.
Tons of information in that group. Tons of people that have been there for years, like yourself. It's crazy.
Victor, Ash, Nick is in there.
Nick.
Yeah, they're all in there. So eventually they have to find it because they're tired of banging their head against stuff. But
yeah.
I was bored on my 2-hour commute home on the train one time, and I did a search, and let's just say there's one other person, and they posted in like 2016 that is the only person that has a similar setup to their car as me.
Damn. Okay.
No one on that group has a near to my setup. So I don't do the cookie cutter stuff, unfortunately, but
yeah. I would say, if anybody who has a 9th gen is interested, I'm not the go-to guy for the 9th gen. There are plenty of other people out there that have way more knowledge than me. I just know what works for me and what has worked for me. And by listening to all these other people, if you're interested in getting into the space, do your DEs, get seat time. It's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. That doesn't matter whether you're in a 9th gen or a E30.
Yeah.
Get seat time. Seat time is king. So
until next time, keep working on yourself. Keep working on the car. And let's get faster.